It's definitely it's an interesting position to be in because you kind of get to see, and now I feel like the some providers are being a little bit more transparent with their pricing models, but uh, even from personal experience, going to a chiropractor would traditionally paid up front in cash for the service with no insurance, and now having new insurance that covers it with a copay, and then I
Hmm.
get the bill and see how much the insurance actually covered, and it was triple the price. I still paid a quarter or a third of the original payment that I did directly to the provider, but it's crazy how the relationship that providers have with insurance and how that pricing model drastically changes. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, there are some nuances to the way insurance and billing works that most people actually don't understand, but once you understand it, it makes a lot more sense. So,
Hmm.
the amount that the practice bills you is not necessarily well, certainly not necessarily the amount that's going to be reimbursed, but it's also not the amount of money that's going to be applied to your deductible. So, insurance companies have what's called an allowed amount for every service that's billed. And that allowed amount is what's actually reimbursed against. So your copay or coinsurance is being applied against that allowed amount. And that allowed amount is what's getting applied to your deductible. So if you're billed $1,000 for a service and the allowed amount is only 100, you're only getting 100 back, or the doctor's only getting 100 back.
Mm.
And you're only getting 100 applied to your deductible. And if you factor in copays and such. So what practices will often do is they will bill well above the allowed amount to ensure that the maximum amount is reimbursed. And in some instances where it's legal, they'll balance bill to the patient to get the money back, the
Mm.
rest of the money back. But yeah, I mean, most practices are kind of charging sometimes whatever they want. I mean, that's one of the problems in the healthcare system is we don't really know, we don't have any transparency into what practices are charging. So,
Mm.
you may go to, Bob's, physical therapy shop down the street. They may be charging $1,000 for what, Jessica's physical therapy shop is charging $10,000 for, a couple
Mm.
blocks away. Um, and that's something that I think we need to work on. I think there's a massive opportunity on the transparency side of
Mm.
understanding what practices are charging. There are they're called the usual and customary rates that Medicare sets out that
Mm.
practices sort of need to stay within, but it can be all over the map.